Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Houseplantpixie. For everyone that's new to my channel, my name is Monique and welcome back to my existing subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning back into my channel and coming back to watch another episode. If you could watch this episode all the way to the end, comment, like and share, that would be fantastic. Philodendron Verrucosum. Please tell me if you don't like it. I think it's one of the most amazing plants. It's stunning foliage, it's super easy to care for. I just love it. And we're going to chop it. But I'll get to that in a minute. So how do you identify Verrucosum? I think the veining says it all. And another typical on your petioles and the stems, you have the hairy stems. A friend of mine said like, oh, that looks like my legs in winter, which was quite funny, I thought. So with the care, it sits in my plant room, which has an LED light setup. It comes on at, I think it's 6 AM and turns off at 9 PM. So even during winter, this guy had a lot of, had a lot of light and it didn't stop growing. So now it has outgrown its spot. And that's why I want to chop it. And I want to start fresh. And I want to share with you guys what's happened when you prune your plants, encourage you to make the chop. There's no harm. Right. With the soil, I use my mixture, which is a pretty basic mixture. Premium potting mix, orchard barks, perlite, and horticultural charcoal. Sometimes I do mix koi into it as well, which is I just love that stuff. With the humidity, I'll have it in pretty high humidity. It sits around 70 to 85%, but I do believe one of my friends has this plant and she has it in her living room, which hasn't got a great deal of humidity, and the plant doesn't, like, there's no difference. So it's a bit like the Monstera dubia. It's not super required for that plant to have humidity. With the watering, that's like with any plant, don't overwater it. Stick your finger in the soil. If the soil still sticks to your finger, don't water. Test it with a water meter. The other thing you can do, you can use a skewer, put it in the soil, and if the soil sticks to it, indicates that it's still wet. There's a few methods. If you are in doubt, don't water. That's what I go by. The leaves will look droopy. The plant will tell you when it's time to water, so look out for droopy leaves. Put it that way, you kill a plant by overwatering quicker than you kill it by not watering. That's a good way to put it, I think. Fertilizer, I have started using liquid fertilizer. I'm not huge on fertilizing. I do believe if you give the plant super bright indirect light and don't overwater it, great soil, then you should see great results. What else is there? The temperature. Temperature never drops below 15 degrees in my home, I believe. And when I do have my heater on, I got duct heating and it will never blow directly onto my plants. Just something to keep in mind if you have air conditioning, that you don't have a plant right underneath it. The cold or hot air could, same with a fireplace, you gotta be careful that the dry, if you do have a fireplace, I recommend put like a little dish on top of it so the water evaporates into the air and gets it a bit moist. And I think we got everything covered. So let's chop it. I want to show you my ugly duck. Oh my god, that was my first verrucosum I bought, and it looks the way it looks because I had it in a corner and I did neglect it a little bit. Let's chop that one first. It's my ugly duck, I call it. That's it. It has the veining, but it has the hairy. I'm not sure if you can see that. It has a few tiny hairs on the back. I'm just gonna see what happens if I prune that, how it comes back. It'll be interesting to record, and the way it looks now, I don't like it. Alright. We're going to chop it right at the base. So it's been chopped there before. And here I chop it and then I show you. Oh, I've been doing that a lot lately. There we go. This is the base. It cuts not very clean. I like to apply straight after the cut cinnamon powder. It's a great preventative for any fungal infections. If you do already have a plant that has a fungus, the cinnamon won't do anything. You need peroxide, but I won't get into that. Okay. I'm going to make a chop on each internode. So you have a node, node, node. That's a tip cutting. I think I said that in videos before. Some people recommend that you have at least 2 nodes per cutting, whatever works best for you. It worked for me fine. Have 1 node, 1 leaf, 1 cutting, always worked fine. So that's personal preference. With the tip cutting, you most likely end up with 2 nodes because you have the node here and you got the node here. I would not recommend to cut that, no. And the tip cutting is always the top, and it's very popular because I don't fully agree with it, but it said it's the most beautiful, it grows the quickest, it roots the quickest, which when I rooted the Monster Peru cuttings I had, the mid-stem cuttings were quicker to root than the tip cutting, but the tip cutting produced roots and another leaf, so yeah. Actually, tell me in the comments below, what do you prefer? Do you prefer buying tip cutting, or you don't mind? I really don't mind. So this part here, I won't even bother, seriously. Here are our cuttings, and I don't like to leave a lot. I like to make the nodes nice and short like this. So remove that one. There you go. We have our cuttings, and now I've got already something prepped here. It's called coconut. This is unpaid advertisement. They sent me the product and I absolutely love it. because whatever I soak. So you have instructions on the back with the coconut. You can use coconut for several things. You can use it when you water, you can spray your foliage, you can soak your cuttings. So there's a few, and we're soaking these cuttings now, and you can actually use that to either spray on the foliage or you use it for your watering. Dilute it down a bit so it won't go to waste. It's also plant-based, so if my dog ever gets hold of the package, nothing will happen. Now the big boy, Gil. Interesting. I didn't have just on the side, if you don't have any tomato stakes or pole at home, just use your skewers. Most people have them in their drawer. That's just 5 of them put together as a little stake. Alright, actually let's start from the top here. So, oh, I love this plant. And I like to cut on the angle. Take that off. And I like to take that off. So with the cut on an angle, it's not so much for indoors, but it's maybe a good habit to develop. So if the rainwater, if it rains or there's humidity built up, the water actually hits the top here and goes down. If you cut it on the other, like if you cut the angle that way, it will actually sit in a leaf axil and could cause rot. So that might be something to consider. I'm shaking you. Nothing's gonna happen, but every time I cut a plant, I'm so nervous. Yeah, I don't know if you know the feeling. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I think it's quite nerve-wracking. Right. Chop. I should change the camera setting. So you can see what I'm doing. Here's the skewers. I'm going to reuse them for different plant. And then again on an angle, chop. Put that on the rubbish pile. Another chop. And I'm going to chop that as well. All right, there we go. We got our cuttings, tip cutting, and the other 3. I'm just gonna pop them. So with the coconut, we will soak that for 1 hour. I'm not sure if I said that before. So I'm gonna set a timer, because if I do get distracted and do something else, then I will forget about it. Some beautiful cuttings. I will give you an update how they're going. I will propagate them in perlite. Perlite is my absolute favorite at the moment. You just don't have I don't know, I'll get a little bit annoyed when I use the sphagnum moss, that it's a bit of a fiddle and sometimes you lose a root. But that's just personal choice. I just love the perlite, probably because it's white. I've got white pots, everything's white. Perlite's white, maybe that's why. I don't know. Yeah, I will be using a glass vessel, perlite. Just a quick info on your perlite. Some people like to boil it. I never boil mine. I just soak it in the kitchen sink for a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours, or soak it overnight, however you like. And then you fill up your vessel, and you don't, because the perlite is soaked, you don't need to fill it up fully with water. So say like the perlite is to about the top here and your node is covered, the water should be sitting here. On a heat mat, under grow light, you should be seeing roots within 2 to, sometimes it only takes a week. So yeah, I'll give you an update how they're going. And I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, give it a like. And I'll see you next time. Until then, stay plenty. Bye.